reason
Did
why.
I predict that?
Yeah.
So I feel like I wasn't expecting that when I read this chapter.
Welcome to Inchworm.
The podcast in which we are inching through worm. I'm Jenny.
And I'm Ted.
And our friends are in some trouble.
Yep, shell 4.6. It's the middle of the arc, and trouble is brewing.
Yeah, it is. Do you want to tell us what happened?
Oh yeah, I'll dive right into the summary. So Taylor ended the last chapter being like, yeah, time to mess up Uber and Leet.
Yeah.
And honestly, that's what happens in this chapter. It's pretty fantastic. So just to go through it, Taylor is complaining about the paucity of bugs in this storage.
Such a dearth.
Such a dearth.
If only there'd been a plethora.
Yeah. There just aren't good bugs here.
No good bugs.
No good bugs.
Yeah.
So that means cockroaches, moths, a few spiders. She does eventually find at the limits of her range a wasp's nest, but she knows it takes some time to get all of the wasps to, funnel out of the nest.
Yeah.
So she's not kind of at peak performance, but it doesn't really matter because from the beginning, the Undersiders are completely in control of this fight.
Yeah, Uber and Leet really have no hope here.
Yeah, we learned about Uber's power, which is his power makes him talented. But it's pretty clear that talent doesn't overcome his inherent clumsiness or maybe expert knowledge. We should talk about kind of...
We can talk about it,
Yeah, what the deal is with Uber's power. So he doesn't seem that formidable. Leet, it turns out, is a tinker. His power seems to be he can make anything as long as it's new.
He can make anything once. Yeah.
Exactly. He can make anything once, and the closer it is to something he's made before, the more likely it is to go wrong catastrophically. So he has some bombs that he's going to be using to attack them with, and they look like cartoon bombs, like perfectly round with a little fuse, but they're not really explosive. They don't do like that much damage when Taylor gets caught in one. And there's a little bit of a scuffle, but it basically ends up just with the Undersiders and Uber and Leet like taunting each other, or really it's just Tattletale taunting Uber and Leet. Tattletale keeps finding these little things to like pick at with them. First being like, video games are stupid, your mission is boring, your theme sucks, you guys are going to end up in the birdcage. And that seems to really annoy Leet, who's maybe the true gamer among the two. And Uber seems to be just in it because he's Leet's friend. And Tattletale starts to pull on this thread, basically being like, I think, Uber, you could do better than Leet. And that seems to really get under Leet's skin. But it's very funny. Uber still has his very melodramatic voice, so everything he says is kind of hilarious. At one point, Leet pulls out the Master Sword from The Legend of Zelda, and Regent calls him on it as being off-theme. And it's finally time to shut them down, while the rest of the team takes care of Uber. Taylor knocks Leet to the ground, gets her baton out, and starts trying to choke him out, knock him unconscious. And there's this moment with Taylor and Gru, where Gru comes to check on her and give her advice about how to more effectively choke Leet out. And it takes a sort of uncomfortably long amount of time. And then the fight is over. Both enemies are down. And they're looking to wrap things up, find Bitch, find the cash, bring, Leet back from unconsciousness to kind of interrogate him. And suddenly, from the rooftop of one of the other storage lockers, comes a mechanical hiss of a voice, a woman in a gas mask, and the same video game costume that Uber and Leet had. Turns out, the game the costumes were from is Bomberman, a little blue guy with pink boots and gloves and an antenna. And, of course, the cape herself is Bakuda of the ABB. She seems to be slightly more competent and formidable than Uber and Leet. She doesn't get knocked off of the storage locker right away, and she brought company. There are dozens and dozens of ABB goons, all armed, in the surrounding storage lockers who have been waiting and biding their time to reveal themselves now. And Bakuda explains that Uber and Leet basically wanted to stream the beginning of this fight and get a little bit of money, and for Bakuda to wear a Bomberman costume. She's disappointed in what she paid for, but now it's time to deal with the people that brought down her predecessor, Loon. The chapter ends with her pointing and shouting, "Get them!"
Yeah, the ABB has a new leader, and she seems to be really competent. It's kind of distressing.
Yeah, well, congratulations on the excellent prediction that maybe the ABB would be the secret reason
Did
why.
I predict that?
Yeah.
So I feel like I wasn't expecting that when I read this chapter.
I love that. I love that.
Yeah, no, I knew. I knew the whole time. Good for me.
I mean, you initially predicted it would be the bullies.
Oh, yeah.
Or Armsmaster, or New Wave, or the Wards. But once it was clear that capes
a lot
were
of
involved
options.
and they were villains, you did suggest that maybe the ABB
Okay.
had been pulling some strings last chapter.
I didn't expect the ABB to be this formidable, honestly. This is pretty intimidating. Bakudo seems like a very, powerful leader. She's really got it together.
Yeah,
This is a good plan.
Yeah. Well, do you remember what her power is?
I think she makes bombs.
Suggested heavily by the Bomberman outfits.
Yes.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, I think her bombs are going to be a little bit more powerful than Leet's bombs. Leet's holograms of bombs.
Yeah.
I guess what he has, he's a tinker, so he built a thing that can make holograms of stuff, but he can't actually make new bombs. His power is hilarious. So, okay, the feeling you get when you're doing something we sometimes perform musicals or concerts or something where, you've been rehearsing something for a long time or something, and then you're doing it and you're like, oh, this is the last time I'm going to do this.
Yeah.
Or there are lots of things in your life where you're like, whoa, is this the last time I'm going to do X, Y, Z? And it's this very bittersweet sort of preemptive nostalgia feeling where you're like, oh, wow, this part of my life is passing me by and I'll never be able to experience this or achieve this or whatever again. His entire career as a cape is like that. Everything he does, he's like, well, that's gone. I can never have that again. He can't build off what he's made before or everything he does is just, washed away by the tides.
Oh my gosh. I mean, I really appreciate that insight into the tragedy of his power because he seems like a real tool.
Yes. Yeah. I mean, they both really do.
Yeah.
Although at least Uber is a loyal friend.
Exactly. The power of friendship motivates him, and not the power of video games being underappreciated.
Oh my gosh. That's their mission. But this is probably more accurate in 2011 than it is today. But I feel like video game culture is huge. Really, the idea of video games being underappreciated is just not a thing that resonates with me as, real at all.
Yeah.
I mean, I guess, 15 years ago, it was still somewhat, I guess the sort of geeks and nerds being cool was, kind of on the ascendance at that point.
Yeah, exactly. This is, pre-Dungeons & Dragons 5th edition and all of,
really?
that era of nerddom.
Oh, wow.
This was
I guess
at the
just
beginning
kind
of the board game
movies.
renaissance.
Oh, okay,
the MCU, right?
Yeah.
So I feel like gamer as an identity, as it was in 2000, 2005, 2010, there was still a lot of people who grew up with that.
Yeah,
right. I guess we don't know how old Uber and Leet are.
I don't think very old.
Right, but they could be in their 20s.
They're probably in their 20s.
Yeah, they don't have to be teenagers.
No. Yeah, spreading the word about the noble and underrated art form that is video games.
Noble.
Wow.
And
they're just making it seem noble.
And Uber being like, you say geek like it's an insult, but it's not.
I mean, I do remember, I feel like by 2011, ThinkGeek, the website where you buy stuff, that was already a big thing.
Yeah.
Doctor Who was, really popular. Game of Thrones must have started already, or was, about to start or something.
I mean, 2011's when the last book came out.
Oh, wow.
Is that right?
Yeah, I think he's living in the past. He's fighting a battle that's already been won and fighting it badly.
Yeah. I mean, I will say I would put the sort of the timeline of when gamers, went mainstream. I would clock that at more like 2015 era. I'm a huge nerd. I'm a huge geek. I don't relate to these two characters at all.
Because I'm definitely not this kind of geek, but we are making a podcast about worms, so I don't think either of us is...
It's so childish, and we know from Taylor last chapter that they're not, like, art critics. They're, like, running around, streaming themselves, beating people up.
Yeah.
They have a lot more to do with, like, Jackass and, like, prank YouTubers.
Yes, definitely.
Like, I always think of the first season of American Vandal... that like YouTube set where they're doing like baby farting, where they run up and fart on babies. Like that's the vibe that Uber
that's their genre.
Give off. It has nothing to do like
they're not like look at these cool narrative twists that video games can do that no other art form.
What they're getting
of.
Out of it is they've latched on to the subculture of video games and they're feeling superior about it. Like that's my read on who these guys are, or at least who Leet is, and Uber's along for the ride because he likes his friend, which I find adorable. The sort of like Tattletale accuses Uber and be like, like, well, what are you even doing with a loser like Leet? And Uber says, without a hint of like irony or anything, it's like, well, he's my friend. And then Tattletale's immediately like, so you don't deny that you could do better. And Leet starts screaming.
Leet is I was going to say Leet is so easily baited. I think actually Tattletale's just so good at baiting people.
Yeah.
I'm not sure how much her power gives her this ability and how much it's just her personality.
I mean, exactly. Why not both? It's the synergy.
Yeah, because we saw this with Glory Girl and Panacea, but like she was working super hard to like dig for material for that. It's unclear that she's like drawing on as much like material that other people wouldn't know, but she's just super good at
it. Yeah. I wonder if she has like a little playbook where like she's like, oh, what would I say to this villain if I ran into him, or that villain if I ran into her?
Mr. Collins preparing his witticisms ahead of time.
Uber and Leet, by virtue of the fact that they do have this like streaming gig.
Oh yeah, they're very well known.
Yeah. Tattletale's got a lot more data to work with. Just, if she happens to tune in and decide
it seems like she's aware. I'm sure she certainly would think about them as villains active in her city.
Yeah.
So we talked about Leet's power. So Uber's power, you were saying in the summary that it's really interesting that it doesn't, like, overcome his innate clumsiness. And I have a thought about that. So he is an expert in whatever the thing is that he is trying to do.
Right.
Like pick locks, do Krav Maga or whatever, parkour, I forget was mentioned in the thing. And I think what it is that if you actually were training for years to become a parkour expert, it would also affect everything else about how you move and carry yourself and interact with the world. It would affect you mentally. Like you'd have a different level of discipline. And he just has the skill without any of those side effects.
Yeah.
So he is caught in Gru's darkness and he kind of rolls out and he's really clumsy, probably because he's not specifically like trying to do gymnastics or whatever. Right. And then he does like a fancy like martial arts like kick to get out of it, because that's a specific thing that's part of the skill he is focusing on being expert in.
So this is crushing my dreams a little bit of using Uber's power to be like an opera singer or a concert pianist, because part of that skill has to do with a lot of training and practice, right? Like maybe I could play the piano, but then I would get a hand cramp.
No. I think actually you would be able to be an opera singer or play the piano super well. It's just that you wouldn't also be extra dexterous in your everyday life. Or maybe you'd play the piano super well, but then if you weren't focusing on that skill and you tried to read sheet music, you wouldn't be able to do it. Because it's just like when you're trying to apply that skill and when you're focusing on it, you can do it. I mean, I'm guessing based on a very small sample here of Uber
I
in
see.
action.
So it's more like I could do a high jump, and then if I got distracted in the middle of the high jump, I might like fall and break my leg because I'm not paying attention anymore.
It's kind of like how you could sing opera, But your normal speaking voice wouldn't be at all affected by the vocal training that you would have had to go into opera. Like, I know that my speaking voice is affected by the voice training that I've done. But if I were Uber and I could just, like, turn that on, like, snap, I'm an opera singer, and then I went back to speaking in my normal voice, they wouldn't see that effect.
Counterpoint.
Yeah.
Uber speaks like this at all times. So maybe he did get stuck that way.
Okay, but I bet when he goes to the doctor and they're listening to his chest and they tell him to breathe in, he doesn't automatically breathe in a way that inflates his belly and not his chest. So the doctor is like, why aren't you breathing, even though you just took full lungfuls of air? Which is like a side effect of vocal training, but he hasn't had the vocal training. He can just automatically sing like an opera singer.
Point. That's a great point. What would you do with Leet's power?
Ooh, oh my goodness.
How would you manage it?
Yeah, all right. You'd have to make things that were reusable.
Yeah.
Like, it does seem like he made some sort of successful hologram machine? Holograph? I forget exactly what it was. It's like they seem like bombs and they have some concussive effect. It doesn't seem like these bombs are the things he's making. It seems like he has some sort of backpack that's generating them because he also pulls Link's sword out of it.
Right.
So I think that's actually the right approach. Is building something that can build other things.
Right. So maybe it's like he made a really cool bomb instead of making a really cool bomb maker. And now he can't make a really cool bomb maker because it's too close to something.
Yeah.
You know, like, is that kind of...
Kinda, yeah. I think, you'd want to make makers.
Yeah. I mean, that is kind of... It really scratches an itch of, like, the categorizing and organizing information part of my brain.
Yeah.
That I just want to sit down and, like, draft all of the things and then figure out, like, what's the one thing I can start
that could make all of them.
Right. To preserve things for, for later use.
But the horrible thing is, if that thing breaks, you can't make anything. Well, maybe you can make something else. I don't know. If you've made a, like, Omni maker, you might not be able to make any more makers.
Yeah, that's amazing. I mean, maybe you make a cloning vat and clone yourself, and then the restriction is lifted. Like, how many...
Would your copies have your power?
Well, how many genie loopholes? I mean, I have no idea. This is a great question. If you made a cloning device, would your clones have your power?
I mean, it depends. Normally, when you clone someone, as we do all the time, you're just taking their DNA, which is not, in theory, affected by anything you've lived through. But if this cloning vat is more like, Calvin's box that duplicates people, that does seem like it's a more direct duplicate. So it depends on what kind of cloning vat it is.
Maybe you would have to clone yourself and then immediately re-trigger yourself. Right? Because if you are predisposed, genetically or otherwise, to get superpowers, but you have to have an experience, you might be able to artificially recreate that.
Okay, but if you clone yourself, you have to assume that the clone, if you're creating like a clone that's your same age, would have, the ability to say, speak English. Why is that different than having gained a power?
That's true.
So
what
I don't
if you clone
know.
yourself and only your clone has the power and you don't?
Whoa, I don't know why that would happen, but it would be terrible.
I think it's like you made a mistake that, the real you went through the machine and you realize you're the clone.
Yeah, exactly. That means you are the clone.
Yeah. Ugh. I also wonder if Leet's power is more like, it really is based on, like, function. So, like, there's a set of simple machines and he can only ever make one lever. Like, that seems really limited, right?
Yeah.
So, like, I wonder if it is more... If you are more creative with Leet's power, can you come up with loopholes? Like, can you have two things that are the same function, but one has, like, a steampunk aesthetic and one has, like, a very, Cold War aesthetic?
He does seem like he's come up with some loopholes, so... He seems generally incompetent, so probably not the best loopholes.
Yeah,
but
we don't have enough. We don't know enough about how it works yet.
I feel like just the fact that his power works this way says something about Tinkers, because I was kind of like, is this a superpower? Is it not just like, I don't know, knowledge of science got dropped in your head? Like, can't you use this knowledge to advance science in general? And it sounds like, at least in Leet's case, it's more like No, you can build a thing, but you maybe couldn't explain to someone else how you built it in a way that's replicable.
Sure, yeah.
Maybe it's even like you didn't do it using science, because as we've seen, as Tattletale has pointed out, like powers break the laws of physics all the time.
Right.
So it's more like you built a thing and it works for you for some reason, and if someone else followed the exact same steps, it just wouldn't work.
Yeah. I think that's a good insight.
And that's why, he can't build something and then do exactly the same thing again and get the thing again. Because it's just his power doesn't work the second time. The thing doesn't work. It's going to go wrong and explode and hurt him or whatever.
Yeah, that's interesting. I wonder if there's also a video games mastery connection with Leet's power. Like, or two things maybe. One is like the sort of, you can only, complete the game once. Or like you can only get all the achievements once or like something like that. And then you have to move on. Or the thing you were saying about, like, you can never go back. Maybe there's, like, a fake nostalgia angle. He hasn't really said that, but I feel like a common gamer archetype feeling is like, oh, well games were better back, when they were harder before, they were trying to appeal to broader audiences, or, like the console that I had when I was 11, that was the best one. So I wonder if there's an angle on his power like that.
Oh, interesting. Yeah. I also wonder if part of the reason he likes video games is that you can do the same challenges over and over again.
That's very good. Yeah.
His trigger event was the memory in his console being wiped, so he lost all his progress in all his games, and he had to do it all over again.
Yeah.
So now he has a power where he can do things but only once. That doesn't really make sense. But.
No, but there's the sort of like, you did it once and now you can't do it again because you're not as good or something.
Oh. Yeah. It's the fear of like, what if I can't do that again? And now he can't do any of it again.
His twitch reflexes, his, StarCraft micro that he uses to, do a certain number of actions per minute. Now that he's in his, let's say, late 20s, he's never going to be as good as he was when he was 17.
No.
I love that. We're getting really into this guy's backstory.
Oh, yeah. We're fan fiction writers. Pay attention.
Anything else about Uber Elite? Should we...
I don't know. I think we should dig into... we should talk about this fight. Let's see if it reflects on our heroes/villains in any...
big picture, the scene feels very quippy and cartoony beyond just the cartoon bomb, right? It's like, I can almost hear the, like, a boing and like wah 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 sound effects as Leet and Uber are getting knocked around.
Yeah.
And that kind of meets Taylor where she is, like, let's have a fun fight.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
But I feel like the moment when Taylor has to choke Leet out, and it's like describes how long that takes, that made me a little queasy. So I feel like that kind of like brings it back to earth. And then, of course, the reveal of Bakuda at the end is also like, the fun, quippy, cartoony bit is over. Mm-hmm. Now things are going to get serious.
Because it was really... This is, in a way, following the trajectory of the bank job, where our hero villains were just winning so much in that first chapter, and then things started to turn and get more difficult. They're winning... This is an exaggerated version where they won so hard. Like, it was not really even a challenge. They don't have Bitch with them, but they're still... And Taylor didn't even really do much, with her bugs, because she didn't have very many good bugs. But they're still absolutely, like, comfortably so much more powerful than these guys.
Yeah. And what you said about they don't have Bitch, it is making me realize that despite the Undersiders do have some disadvantages because they're down a person and Taylor doesn't have her swarm.
Yeah.
So, like, that
Those are their two big guns. Yeah.
That a little bit, like, creates a little more suspense, a little more challenge, a little more variety compared to what we've seen. But it doesn't really come into play this chapter. They don't feel like they're at all close to underpowered against these two.
These two are not a serious threat. Yeah.
So really, what that's doing is setting us up so that they're on the back foot for what's coming next.
Yeah.
Which is going to be fun to see play out.
Yeah, I'm pretty worried.
Yeah. Yeah, I guess walk through your feeling through the Bakuda reveal and kind of what you're thinking about that whole situation.
She came out and it was so good that we'd had these bombs that turned out to be like fake, basically, like not entirely, but like sort of. Because then she walked out. I was like, oh no, we're going to get real bombs. And, she's there. Presumably she's not bomb-proof, so she's probably not going to bomb them immediately. But she is just so much more obviously a serious threat than they are. And it was this great confusing thing. And like one of the Undersiders says it, like, what, you're teaming up with these guys now? Like, I thought you were better than that is kind of the implication. And she's like, no. I just hired them. Yeah. And then you're like, oh, crap. They, because we were like, oh, they're the villains. And I had been thinking, like, they mentioned a guest star. Who's going to come out? Someone's going to come out. There's going to be a third person here. And so, we were set up for like, oh, this is their guest star? Like, okay, that seems odd. But then it turns out they were just the red herring villains. And the ABB are the real baddies here.
Yeah, it's gonna be...
Yeah, like, she was already a big problem, and it was like, and Taylor doesn't really have a swarm, and like, oh no, what's gonna happen? And then, there were a few other guys coming out, and then all of the doors to the storage lockers open, and there were like 30 or 40 guys coming out. And, right, so I wanted to think through, like, okay, they have. Taylor could possibly find some more bugs. I don't know if her wasps are totally destroyed, but she doesn't have a ton there. I assume that Gru will do a lot of darkness, which is tough because it puts his teammates at a disadvantage. Like, maybe he can leave them a little pocket, but certainly that will be helpful. Maybe they can escape.
Though we do know they're in the train yard. It's labyrinthine.
Right, it's hard to escape. Yeah. Gru can generate a lot of darkness, but like, how do they escape if they can't see anything? That's pretty tough. So... And
right, they don't have the dogs.
They don't have the dogs who let them out. Yeah, the dogs are mobility. Like, the dogs, if the dogs were there, they could just leap right out. Yeah, I was definitely thinking, like, Bakura is clearly a good strategist or good tactician or whatever. Like, she set them up so that Bitch would be out of the picture, because if Bitch were there, it would really change this fight.
Yeah.
3 enormous, powerful dogs, especially, like, having had the sort of decoy villains at first would have given the dogs a chance to grow. Really, she would have been setting herself up for trouble. But she deliberately took Bitch out, and now they're very underpowered. So Gru will do his darkness thing. Tattletale may be able to find the way out of the labyrinth. That seems like the kind of information she could get. Like, what's the path? Regent will be useful. He was very useful against Uber and Leet. That was great. But there are too many of them. Like, he can't use his power on 40 people at once, it doesn't seem like. And Taylor doesn't have very many bugs. She does have a high-tech backpack that generates fake bombs. I think that'll come into play.
Yeah.
I don't know if she knows how to use it. I don't know if she actually can use it.
Right,
it might be a side effect of the Tinker powers that also Leet is the only one who can use the things he makes. It didn't seem like that was the implication with Kid Win. Like, Regent thought if he stole the flying skateboard, he'd be able to use it. So, who knows if that is or is not a thing with Leet's powers. Regardless, Taylor's probably not going to know how to use it, so that's going to be... I don't know how effective it's going to be.
Yeah.
But I do think she'll at least try some stuff, and hopefully that will have an effect. That will be an ingredient in the fight. Like, what I want to have happen is for them to get really, really backed into a corner, and then for Bitch to rescue them.
Ooh.
Like, maybe she works out of her bonds. The dogs, she manages to grow the dogs, and they escape. Like, something was missed there, and she manages to escape. Otherwise, I don't know. I'm not sure if I foresee another ingredient entering the fight on their side.
Right.
They don't have a lot of allies. That was something they said to Taylor. It's like, we want to have goodwill out there. Even if you don't join us, it'd be nice to have someone out there who likes us. Yeah, I don't know who else would fit into that category. I don't think the boss is about to get his hands dirty with this.
Right.
Yeah.
Good stuff. Well, before we wrap things up, I do want to go back and talk about one extra special moment in this chapter. I guess I have a few little details. One thing I really liked is that she's still injured from yesterday. She talks about being bruised from where Glory Girl had thrown Tattletale at her.
Yeah.
I really like she's wary of her swarm, such as it is, getting taken out again. She thinks, like, well, Loon burnt them away and Kid Win blasted them away. So, like, I gotta be careful approaching Leet. I don't know what he can do. I really liked that. And then after she took Leet out, she's like, yeah, I don't know, just, like, it's pretty skin tight, so he probably doesn't have anything, but I'll chop off the antenna. Like, that can't hurt. Right? Like, being very thorough.
Maybe that will come into play.
Yes. Chekhov's severed Bomberman antenna.
Classic.
But it's this flirty scene between Gru and Taylor where Gru comes over and says, "You okay?" in his echoing voice. And Taylor's like, "Peachy." And then Gru gives her the instructions about, well, don't pull it against his windpipe. You'll get tired enough that you lose your grip before he passes out. Here. And then he leans down, grabs the baton around her hands. I don't know that he does that, actually. Moves it to the other side of Leet's neck. Now you're obstructing the blood flow. Twice as fast. Then Taylor's like, thanks for the lesson. And Gru says, "Good girl."
I did highlight that. So weird. It feels a little bit more older brother. Like, it feels like of a piece with the story he told us. Maybe of that's the way his parents talked to him, or his dad talked to him. I mean, good boy, presumably. Yeah, it definitely rang as an odd word choice to me. I really love how their whatever they have is written at this point, because every single moment you could read it as they're having a sweet meet cute, or you could read it as they're just colleagues who are cooperating very effectively and have a similar personality. It's just so funny, the contrast between the banter and what they're actually doing. And I think I mentioned, but when Leet is actually passing out, it's upsetting to read about. That's such a great point about that being a good transition between the sort of cartoony violence and the seriousness of the threat posed by Bakuda and the ABB.
Yeah, and I think that I had in my head, that there was a tonal shift in this chapter that was, more abrupt or, jarring to me, but I actually feel like it didn't read as jarring on kind of the...
Felt like a good swivel.
The reread, yeah. And there's other fun ways that it's built up, like the mentioning the guest star getting cut off, and, as you've been saying, the shoes are dropping.
They're dropping. Shoes are dropping like flies, which unfortunately Taylor doesn't have enough of.
I know.
I wonder to what extent Bakuda... Well, I guess she couldn't have picked this location because she probably didn't know where the money was. But I was just going to say, this is a really good spot for putting the Undersiders on the back foot, because Taylor doesn't have access to a lot of bugs.
Yeah.
I guess she also doesn't know how many bugs are in the train yard because she doesn't have Taylor's power, but still.
Yeah. And, I mean, we're going to be talking more about Bakuda, but it's fun to see this particular chicken come home to roost, because we had this thread in the end of the first arc, and then in a little bit, the Parahumans Online reading, and then we learned a little bit in Interlude 2 about villain dynamics and stuff. And so,
I really should have expected revenge from the ABB. It really wasn't on my radar, despite my having successfully predicted it last time.
It's been months since you've heard about the ABB, to be fair. And in particular, we don't really know how deep the beef was between the Undersiders and the ABB, but Taylor's the one who took Lung out and elevated Bakuda.
Yeah.
So this really is, it's not just settling a score with the Undersiders. It really is a Taylor thing.
I don't know if the ABB knows that.
I mean, that's a good point, actually. Right, because
Taylor was there.
The dogs were there.
Then the dogs showed
Arthmaster
up.
was there.
It's not like Bakuda was there, really.
Yeah,
but the kids were all driven away.
Yeah. There were a bunch of guys.
Yeah, but it seems like they were driven away, and
bugs.
they probably didn't know that the other Undersiders weren't there the whole time.
Right.
And then they see that Taylor's one of the Undersiders. They just figured
the Undersiders
have this new recruit,
right.
and they took out Lung.
Yeah, that's a great point.
Yeah, and that's the kind of thing where you got to act right away if you want to keep your power.
Yeah,
you got to take down this new threat.
Yeah, absolutely. She's got something to prove.
Oh yeah, I wonder. It's interesting that she came in and rose to power so quickly. It seems like she's someone who's strong leadership skills. Because Oni Lee was there, but he was kind of the second in command, I guess, but is not the person currently in charge.
Yeah. Well, we can talk more about the outcome of the battle after we've actually seen things happen.
Yeah, we'll see how it goes.
Of predictions. All right. Well, in lieu of the name game, I have a different game for you to play. I'd like you to pull up the ebook.
Yeah.
And go to the next page and just see what's at the top of that page.
Interlude 3.5 bonus?
So, next up is an interlude.
What?
Turns out, interludes do not just happen at the end of arcs. I think this is fun to kind of fill you in on how it happened.
What?
Wildbow, at this point, was already collecting donations. And he basically said, like, pre-Patreon or anything, like, here's my PayPal or whatever it was.
Yeah.
If I hit a certain dollar threshold, I will write a bonus chapter. So not 2 chapters a week, but 3. And so this is the first time that one of those bonus goals was reached. I believe this was, presumably this was the first one. And so the donors get their chapter right away, just whenever those donation goals are hit, we get
an interlude in the middle of an
interlude.
Wow. Okay.
So there is an interlude, so that won't be a surprise anymore. But if you want to speculate about the identity,
I know that because the first thing I did was not read the header at the top of the page, because why would I expect that to say anything other than Shell 4.7? I read the first line, which is Caden crouching by a crib.
So we've got Caden.
So we know there's a Caden, but I don't know who Caden is.
That's true.
This is actually more what I was expecting out of the interludes, where it was going to be just sort of pieces of the world that we hadn't seen at all yet.
Sure,
That's kind of what we got with Glory Girl and Panacea.
Yeah.
Less so with the last one. So, Caden, okay, does he fit into anything we've heard before? Sounds like he's probably a child. My impulse is to say that he is not young enough to be in the crib himself, because he's kind of crouching by the crib, so I'm guessing there's like a younger sibling.
I love this game of Jenny reads a single sentence instead of just going on vibes. This is so fun.
And also, like, a child who's young enough to still be in a crib, I mean, you can write that voice, but that's really hard, and, it's usually more fun to write a slightly older kid, though if it is a toddler, I mean, that'll be really fun to see. But I'm guessing elementary school age kid, which probably means he doesn't have powers.
Yeah, be much younger than Vista.
Right, and we got the sense that Vista is unusually young to have powers.
So what's the angle? If this is broadening our world, what part of the world are we seeing?
It's a great question. All right, so a few possibilities that come to mind. It could be one of the ward's younger siblings, which would be kind of fun to see sort of from the outside what that life is like, to see maybe from the point of view of a family member who doesn't know about the secret identity.
I love that.
That would be really fun.
Lots of dramatic irony.
Could be a kid whose parent is a cape of some variety. Like, do we think anyone in the protectorate has children? Do we think, Bakuda seems like she just graduated from college or just got out of some sort of college setting. Probably not her. Yeah, we haven't met a lot of people old enough to be parent age. Maybe Armsmaster, but I don't think so, but, like, maybe. That would be cool. It's possible that this is, like, what's her name? Carol, the, like, new wave person.
That's their mom.
Yeah, their mom, like, is, like... it doesn't seem like she's, like, going out and adopting a lot of kids, which was sort of my impression. It seems like that was a one-off. They don't have any other siblings. I don't think it's going to be any of those. I think this is going to be a situation where maybe he is in some sort of... I think it's a he. I can't remember if I saw pronouns on the page. Caden sounds like a boy's name. I think this is going to be a situation where he's, like, in some kind of orphanage, some kind of home like that, and the protectorate or someone associated with the protectorate is looking for kids with the potential to become capes. Where, like, they have some ability to test it, because, remember, Tattletale was saying the theory is that, like, 5 times the number of people have the ability to become capes than actually do it. That's a really hard number to arrive at unless you have some ability to test who could become a cape who hasn't yet. So maybe there is actually some ability to test that, and they're going around trying to find new recruits, kind of get them in young, and then I don't know if they would arrange a trigger event or just kind of hope for one, but I guess if you got a 1 in 5 chance.
Yeah, but I feel like that's a lot to the idea of setting up an extreme fight or flight situation in the hopes that somebody manifests superpowers.
I meant just...
sketchy.
I meant either set something up or just hope that something will happen of its own accord.
Oh,
Not necessarily.
I see.
Certainly, if you're bringing children in for this purpose, it would be deeply unethical to do the former and try to trigger their superpowers.
I misunderstood what you were getting at.
I mean, I'm not saying they wouldn't do that, but it would be a real bad idea. It would be interesting if there is some sort of, special protectorate orphanage for kids who would be in other orphanages, but they have the potential to be capes.
Yeah, that's interesting.
Yeah, that's my theory.
The Brockton Bay Orphanage.
Brockton Bay Babies.
Brockton Bay Bees.
Yes. The BBB.
The BBB.
It's the new BBB.
It's the new BBB.
Yeah.
Perfect. Good stuff?
The BBC. Brockton Bay Children.
Brockton
the
Bay
children!
The children!
Ted, it's the children! Yes, this is a member of the children.
This is a member of the children.
We know
Perfect.
now.
Perfect.
All right. We'll find out next time.
On Inchworm. Worm is a web serial by J.C. McCrae. You can read Worm at parahumans.wordpress.com and support the author at patreon.com/wildvote. Follow us on Tumblr and Blue Sky at Inchworm Podcast, or find our Discord link and any other updates on inchwormpodcast.com.